Happy Friday. She says she's not unhappy.
I'm not unhappy.
She's not unhappy.
Oh.
What? Oh.
I didn't do that on purpose, I swear.
So, okay, after some minor technical difficulties, we're back. You don't know about that because you didn't see that thing? Okay, we're going to try this again. Third time, hopefully, is the charge. Keep having minor technical difficulties. Happy Friday. Here we are. So, anyway,
I got a present.
thank you, Scott.
Thank you.
Sending in a watch I guess he didn't wear as a surprise for Sabrina. It's one of these. It's one of these marathon mil-spec watches with the tritium tubes and a 4 or 3/6 movement. But actually, it's really cool.
I like how it has a radioactive sign on it.
It does have a radioactive sign on it, and the glow is crazy. It's really nice. But this is her gym watch now.
Yay.
Which is really nice. And I am wearing my Sin ST103. Someday, I'd like to get the stock bracelet for this thing, but they're so expensive, I'm just not going to bother. But there it is. There's my Sin ST103, and I retrofitted this with an old style countdown bezel that I got from Sin. The nice thing about Sin is that they'll sell you stuff, and they'll sell you old material. It's not like Seiko where you call up New Jersey and they're like, unless you're a member of our super secret special club, we're not selling you anything. Sin's like, sure, yeah, no problem, take it.
Guess I'll start.
I guess why not?
Rhino's Watches. Hey Spencer, I sent you an email regarding fixing my Pogue.
The reason I had this question on there is that I get hundreds of emails every week, hundreds, many dozens every single day. As a result, I don't respond to emails right away, and I understand that can be very frustrating and annoying because in this world today, you expect a pretty fast response. I flag the ones that are important, and then I will make time at some point during the weekend. I will answer them all in one go. The reason I do that is because I'm easily distracted, and if I start answering emails, the next thing you know, like 2 hours have gone by, and I've been answering all these emails and doing research, and then I sort of come to and surface, and it's like I've been researching, trying to find weird parts on strange websites, and I'm like I didn't even start the day's work, and so I just can't do it. So it's annoying. I understand that, but it is what it is, and I'm still not taking any work. I'm not going to take any work until 2020 at the earliest. My brain doesn't work anymore.
I'm sorry.
It's very sad.
You're not going crazy.
Just getting old.
Oh, no, you're not.
You figure, the stupid...
Built-in mic. Hang on.
We're seeing how things are going here. Technical difficulty number 4. But we're going to watch it. We're going to keep trying.
Are we going to carry on and you're going to edit?
We're going to carry on.
I don't remember what you were talking about.
I don't either.
Oh, you were complaining about being old.
I am old.
No, you're not.
Anyway, go on.
From some person with a funny name. Does LCD screen digital new Seiko Solar match?
Talking about, as far as I can tell, the new Arnie. Yeah, well, I mean the output is exactly the same. Like the way that it looks and the numbers and the things are all exactly the same. But it does apparently. I just reread the owner's guide, and it's like 5-7 years you need to send it back to Seiko to have them replace the LCD screen.
If they make them anymore.
They won't. I don't even know why they bother. They should say after 5 to 7 years, just throw the watch away. Okay, go on.
Rabbit 3001. Hi, Spencer. First of all, thanks for creating videos so frequently. Partly because of you, I'm thinking about getting a Seiko Shogun, an SBDC029, as my only watch. Do you have any thoughts on this particular model and movement SR15? Will it make for a good only watch? Reliability and serviceability are most important to me. Will the watch most likely run for, let's say, 5 to 10 years without having to worry about it? If a service is needed, will it be easy and inexpensive to service?
Easy, yes, and expensive, no.
Design obviously is very subjective. To me, it looks to be versatile and suitable for every occasion. I'm currently wearing a Stowa Pro Diver as my only watch, but the bezel failed twice in 6 months, so that worries me a bit. Hope this makes it in the next mail call episode. Thanks in advance, Tom.
A Stowa Pro Diver. I'd be interested to see what that is. I mean, the Shogun's fine. People really like them. Seiko's build quality is great, especially when it comes to the cases. They've always, alignment issues aside, but they've always been very good in terms of their fit and finish. The 6R15 is a fine movement technically. There have been a lot of QC issues, as far as I can tell, that seem to revolve around QC and lubrication and stuff like that. If you get it, I mean, they're fine movements. I mean, they're well designed movements, and they will run for a long time. 5 years is the official time to service thing. 10 years, you might have gotten away with that in the old days with one of Seiko's old, 7S movements, like an A version, because they seem to run forever. The newer ones, I mean, I would hesitate to guarantee that. It's going to need maintenance. But they're inexpensive enough, even now, that, I mean, rather than service, it'd be easier simply to replace the movement. You can get replacement 6R15s. But, I mean, overall, it's a good quality watch. Seiko makes pretty big bang for the buck stuff. But it's just a roll of the dice if you're going to get one that had QC issues or not.
I want to apologize for the washing machine, but I don't care because my stuff needs washing. And the electricity goes to triple rate in a couple hours, and my stuff needs to wash.
So hopefully you're not hearing this now that we have the microphone working.
From Todd S. Perfect restoration project from the grandfather of Seiko restorations. Please keep these coming. I learned so much.
Just talking about, I think I copied the wrong comment from him. Thanks, Todd. That was a nice comment on the grandfather tuna video that I did, which was still wacky. I never imagined that it would be that new inside.
And then he said, I like big buttons and I cannot lie.
I put that in so you'd laugh.
Oh, well, I did.
That he's talking about the new Arnie Solar with the giant buttons.
Darn it, you know me too well.
I do.
Too old for two wheels. Just received a short text styled 6309 today in the mail from eBay. All looks original and pretty well used, but I'd also love to know more about these dials.
The only suggestions that I've gotten are that these dials were made in Singapore for watches that were being distributed to Southeast Asia, Pacific, New Zealand, Australia. But it's only a theory. That's all I know.
From Michael Sands. I enjoyed hearing your thoughts on the SKX 173. I've been looking at those too, but prices have really shot up. What do you think about the aesthetics of the SKX 173 versus the 399? I go back and forth on which one I like better. Also, what's your understanding of how the 399 came to be? Is it some sort of upgraded limited edition of the 173 or something completely unto itself? Thanks.
There's a lot of people that are confused about the 399 and the 401, which is the Pepsi version. I'm actually really annoyed at myself. I had somebody like 2 months ago offer me a brand new in the box SKX 173 for what he paid for it, which was $275, and I'm like, I don't know. I was like, I'm not sure that I'll wear it, and I've owned a couple before, or whatever. And then they were discontinued, and I was like, and I'd been thinking in the back of my head, I really should have picked that up. I like the way they look. And then they were discontinued, and I wrote him. He's like, I don't know, some guy offered me $500 for it, and I sold it. And I'm like, well, hey, great that you got the money. That's awesome. But yeah, they're definitely going up in value. But Seiko made a ton of them, so I have to believe prices are going to go down again. For those of you who don't, I have to answer the next part of the question.
Oh, sorry, I didn't remember even what I read.
For those of you who don't know, okay, so picture the SKX 173. It's like a 007, but it has square markers and like a big sharp triangle. It's a recreation of Seiko's 6309 7290. Now, seemingly only in Southeast Asia, like the Philippines and maybe Australia, I'm not sure, Seiko produced a version of that watch. It looks more or less the same, but it has the indices, instead of just being square rectangular, actually have a silver metal applied frame around them, and the markers are actually proud. They stick proud a little bit of the dial. It's almost like if you had more of a 6105 type dial. Not quite, but like it. Literally, the only difference between a 399 and a 173 is that dial. Nothing else is different. I got what was probably the last new old stock, never worn, never taken out of the box, all the bells and whistles 399 from a friend of mine who lives in Manila, and the case backs were identical to.
You know, it was the last one.
Because he had been relentlessly hunting them down in Manila, and he was good friends with a number of different watch dealers, because guys were from different watch forums were contacting him, John Chua, and saying, "Hey, John, do you have any more 399s? Can you find any more?" And so he would do the rounds through all the watch shops like in his area in Manila, and when I contacted him, he said, "Oh, geez, I've got one left, or I think there's one left in one store. I'll have to go see." And he did. He had one left, and like a dillweed, I sold it. And the guy I sold it to was some guy in like the Netherlands. And after I sold it to him, after he paid for it, he said, "Oh yeah, this is great. I'm buying it from you because it's cheaper than buying a new 007 here in Europe, and I really need a beater." It was literally brand new. I had the case
Well,
back.
it's your own fault.
Anyway, but the 401 is even rarer. It's the Pepsi version. But the thing you need to watch out for picking those up is that if somebody has a lot of the, you can just take a dial of one of those and swap it into any other of the SKX series, and it will look correct. And so you got to be real careful, because people try to get a premium for those watches, and they may not necessarily be legitimate. Oh, I can't believe I sold that one to that guy. That was the same week we had all the fires up in the hills.
Oh God, you sold that a long time ago.
Long time ago, yeah.
That was like before Willow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was somebody I used to know was the big hit that summer. Goat Ye.
Oh Jesus, I hate that song.
Sorry.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
From Sean Cody. I remember us talking about the issue Ancient Chinese Secret.
Yeah, he's talking about how to open the mainspring barrel on the 6159s, the do not open barrels. The fact that I discovered that, unlike what I had been told, which is that you had to have special machinery, you had to force the things open, and then once they were closed, you had to have special machinery to round over the edges to lock it back in. Total nonsense. You turn it over and you open it from the back like a Velmatic, and it opens normally and it closes normally. It's not any great technical feat.
Forbin Colossus. At 1715, Arnie is made in China. I agree with Sabrina. Yay! China tuna can. Watch. I roll. Spencer, what we do is vote with our money. Fix your alignment, Seiko. It's a $500 watch.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, so much stuff is made in China. I mean, this is being filmed on an iPhone right now, and that was certainly made in China. It is what it is. I mean,
I just expected more from Seiko. I
did too.
expect Apple to do that because of what they are.
I don't know. Seiko has always had their eye on the bottom line. I mean, they took one of the most successful division they had, the Suwa watch division, and they turned it into making Epson printers. I mean, the dog's looking at us. Why am I outside? What are you doing? Oh, poor doggy. Anyway, I don't know, man. They make their decisions. I don't know why, but I mean, they made their labor decisions a long time ago.
Whatever. From Clive Sleeman. Hey guys, I know how infuriating it is when something is less than perfect. I am sure that if I looked hard enough, I'll find something wrong with my new Arnie, but I'm not going to. That's a good idea. I have spent the last month rebuilding the H558 5009 from a watch that was for spares or repair. Didn't even know if it would work. Managed to source parts from far and wide, and I love it. It's not absolutely perfect, but not far off. The moral of the story is it doesn't have to be perfect to love it. I like that.
I do too. And it's true, and he has a point. The only quibble I would have is that it's a brand new watch. If you have a watch that has been around the the block a few times, then yeah, it's going to have some imperfections, but you would expect something brand new from the factory to be dialed in. But the alignment, chapter ring alignment on the Arnie that we have here, the new one, is like third of a millimeter. It's real tight, but Seiko's a precision company. They should be able to do better. But yeah, it's not something to get super worked up about, for me anyway.
From Neil Singupta. Hi, Sabrina and Spencer. Really enjoying your show. Please keep up the good work.
Thank you.
My question for next week's mail call is, what is your opinion on the Samurai Save the Ocean with the shark fin at the 8 o'clock on the dial? Thank you both.
I don't know the first thing about it.
You didn't look it up before?
I looked at the picture. I mean, it's not. It's a custom piece. It's a limited edition piece. It's got custom printing on the dial. It's a Seiko Samurai. It's one of the new Samurais, and it is what it is. It's a great design. Obviously, Seiko brought it back from the dead. I wish they'd kept the original handset, but weirdly, at the time of when those came out, people hated those handsets too. Huh, weird. Anyway, I had two of the originals. I had the orange and the blue, the original titanium JDM Samurais, and they were really cool. Those were neat, and I wish Seiko had continued producing them, but instead they went with solid stainless, with the big broad arrow, extinct amphibian hand. Basically, if you like the look of it, go for it.
From Amin Reviews, if a dial has just tiny bits of that black lume in the corners of otherwise nice original white lume, does it need to be removed so it doesn't spread?
It's not like a contagious disease. I mean, it is a reaction, it's a process, but what happened is that moisture got in, it collected in the corners, and then the salt started reacting with the brass of the dial, and then you start getting that black stuff. But you remove water from the equation, and then that should stop. You keep it dry, and there won't be anything for the salt to react with. So just keep the watch dry.
From Jeremy Pidotti, I managed to get the Choppa picked one up. Comfortable for the size, rubber in line with new turtles, therefore comfy. Great review of the watch, getting the seal of approval from Spencer. In my opinion, a great reissue. Hope they get around to the Pogue sometime.
Well, time to get a Pogue is sooner rather than later. They're just going up in value. Definitely one to pick up. I'm happy with the new tuna. I like it a lot. I'm a little annoyed that the LCD screen is going to start going out in 5 to 7 years. I guess I'll burn that bridge when I come to it.
From Jayco, that tool is really effective for pulling the small arc reactor out of Tony Stark's chest. I don't know what he's talking about. Uh-oh, you're leaving. Oh, that thing.
Yep, if we had a teeny tiny arc reactor, that would do the job.
From Romeo, lovely watch and color coordination. How does the A movement compare with the B or C movements, and why is the first generation A so great in comparison?
That's a real good question.
What are you talking about?
He's talking about an old video where I did a review of
something.
I think it's down here. Oh wait, no, it's not down here. Darn it. An orange dialed SKX 011J. It's the one. It's like a 007, but it's got an orange dial and gold hands and a gold insert. In any case, but it has an A movement, and they run beautifully. A movements are they're the last generation of the 7000 series movements that Seiko had started making in the 1960s, and they always ran beautifully. They just ran beautifully, and then I think they started doing a lot of the things they like to do, which is to sort of cut corners and try to save pennies here and there. And so they changed a number of things. They changed the balance to the B, and then they changed it again in the C. I'm not sure what they did in the D, but they did something. I don't know. A's are just amazing. They're just amazing movements. Like those two Samurais I'm talking about. I had those two JDM Samurais. They came from Jonathan Koch's estate, my old friend, and they both had A movements in them. They'd never been serviced, and they were incredibly accurate, and they ran beautifully with like amplitudes in the 270s. They'd literally never been serviced. They were amazing, and every A movement I've ever had ran like that. And it's extraordinarily frustrating for me to say I'm not entirely sure why, but the A's are great. They're great, and they're just, I think they're. I think Seiko changed a lot of subtle things when they went to the B's and the C's, and they also have some QC issues around lubrication. So who knows what changed? I'm sorry. I wish I were more knowledgeable. All I can tell you is that A movements are rock solid.
From Sean G. Is the 4R36 a bad movement?
No, it's this. This dovetails into what we're talking about. The 4R36 is basically it is the next generation of the 7S movement. So you go from 7S 7S26A, 7S26B, 7S26C, and then of course the 7S36, which has a higher joule count. And basically, if you take the 7S36 and you add hacking and hand winding, they redesigned a lot of the internals. It's the same movement. But so it has a lot of the strengths of the 7000 series, but it also has a lot of the weaknesses of especially the C movements, and inconsistent lubrication, and you're kind of always rolling the dice. You never know what you're going to get. But I mean, she's wearing a 4R36 on her wrist right now.
I am?
Oh.
Oh, that's nice.
And it's fine. Though I haven't actually checked the amplitude, but it's running great so far. But no, technically it's a fine movement.
Go
if you want.
From
Well, I'm sorry. Pongo the grasshopper is trying to get in.
We think that Pongo came back as a grasshopper because he used to eat them all the time.
If it's true.
From Lane Edwards. Hey guys, great video as always. Spencer and Sabrina, my question for mail call is, the one Seiko I've never heard you guys talk about is the Samurai.
I just did, I'm sorry.
Just curious on your thoughts. I know it's not really a reissue, however, I got the SRPD 23 Save the Ocean 2, and it's pretty damn amazing. And holy crap, everything on the watch lines up. It's so damn perfect, I'm going to buy a lottery ticket. This never happens with new Seikos.
Yeah.
Let's save the ocean. I'm all for saving the ocean.
I don't know. It's
Does it say it on there?
I don't know. It's something I'd have to look it up.
I don't have my phone. I want to know what it looks like.
Well, why don't you go get where's your phone?
Upstairs somewhere, hidden. I don't know.
Oh, well, we'll look it up.
I don't know. The ocean.
I don't know. I mean, does a portion of the proceeds go to charity or something?
I don't know.
I don't know. I wish I knew. Like I said, I like samurais. They're a very unusual and interesting case shape. One of the ones where when Seiko did something truly unusual and interesting. I prefer the first gen titanium ones. I just think they're a cleaner design, and I love the sort of the gray muted look of the titanium. And plus, I like the old handset better, but that's me. If you love it, great.
From Roscoe Zippo 1974. Another great video. Thanks, guys. Spencer, what are your thoughts on the new Arnie's LCD screen lifespan? We just went over that.
We did. I'm annoyed about it.
The Seiko instruction booklet states that after 7 years it will dim and should be returned to the place of purchase for replacement. Does that sound right to you? I'd have thought the LCD would last a lot longer than that, as its new technology and its screens like this have lasted for decades in other watches, Casio's for example.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for your time and best wishes from across the pond.
Yeah, I mean, I have a Casio
from the 90s that I found in a thrift store.
Yeah, and its LCDs, its glow screens work perfectly. Literally, how much did you pay for it?
$10.
And it came from our thrift store, and it was beaten up. It had a hard life, and I put it through a pressure tester for fun, and it works perfect.
Why?
I just was curious. It passed, but it's like, what is? So Seiko can make a watch that is $50, $49.99 brand new. My other Casio is like that, and you bought that for me. Gosh, almost 9 years ago.
Something like that.
And it also works perfectly fine. And Seiko's like, hey, we designed this thing and we know its specs, and we know enough that we can tell you that this product is going to fail in 7 years. I don't understand the rationale for, I mean, so what pennies are they trying to save by not making it longer lasting?
by making you pay to replace it.
Yeah, because it says in the booklet there may be a fee for this service. That there will be a fee for this service from your. Most people aren't even going to bother.
Nope. From Andrew Warrener. It looks like Seiko has been misaligning chapter rings for some time now. I've got a 6309 7049 from 1986, one of the cased in Hong Kong ones, and it's misaligned. Still, I find it doesn't spoil my enjoyment of the watch, and it could be worse if I bought a Sumo and then noticed the camel toe 12 o'clock marker. You put that in there so I'd laugh.
I guess, but no. The question I was going to ask was, now on a 6309, that's a different piece of business because that dial has a tab, and the tab locks into a pretty precision fitting on the underneath of the chapter ring. Is your watch entirely original? Is your tab bent down? I would look at those because it's unusual to see a 6309 with any kind of alignment issues. Because back then, when the Suwa factory was making watches instead of printers, they produced really, really nice stuff. What are you doing down here?
You're not allowed down here.
You're not supposed to be down here. Giant doggy.
Yeah, we can't pick him up. Sorry. He got too big.
He did get too big.
From David Wu, enjoyed hearing the discussion of the new Arnie. Glad to know people both love it and hate the non-alignment issues. As for Made in China, a watch dealer friend of mine goes to the Hong Kong Watch Show each year, and he sees many Swiss companies there as they quietly duck into meetings with various Chinese companies who make parts, assemble movements, etc. He thinks most Swiss companies these days have some of their work done in China to save money.
Why wouldn't they? Of course they do. Of course they do. And sorry, the dog is. Last time you saw him, he was just a puppy, and now he's a big stinky dog.
Yep. Hello.
Hi, doggy. Doggy. Oh no. Oh, diggy doggy, diggy doggy, diggy doggy, diggy doggy. Okay. Yeah, there's all kinds of dodges and have been for decades about, assembled in Japan or made in Japan or made in wherever the heck it is, and parts made in Switzerland out of parts supplied from elsewhere, or what made in America means. Companies have been doing these kind of dodges forever, so it wouldn't surprise me. It is what it is. My mind is still reeling over the fact that Seiko has this technology. They're like, hey, it's going to fail in 7 years. Make sure you take care of that when that goes out. Though, bring your wallet. It blows my mind.
I know.
Why can't they get it right?
Because they want to make more money.
I guess, I bet you anything. They knew that the LCD was bad, obviously, or that the design was not long-lived, and they put that in there specifically as a legalese thing, to tamp down any kind of liability or financial risk. I bet you exactly that's what it is. They looked at it like it's cheaper for us to put a line in the book stating that the part is going to fail in 7 years than it is to simply fix it now. That's how much Seiko loves their customers.
You see, you got to complain about something.
What are you going to do? Honey, I'm Gen X.
And I'm a happy millennial.
Living your life,
Yeah.
eating your avocado toast. Doing your stuff, worrying about the environment.
I want to save the ocean. I wish it said save the whales.
Poor whales. They need saving.
I know, but now I want to see if it says save the ocean on it, you're going to have to buy it for me.
Really? Why?
Because it says save the oceans, and that's hilarious having that on a watch.
Okay, well, when we're done with this, we'll look it up and we'll see if it actually says save the oceans.
Gotta save the coral reef.
It's true. Oh, well. All right, well, that's pretty much it. I hope that was suitable. Sorry for our technical difficulties. And, I don't know, that's pretty much about it.
Mm-hmm.
Have a great weekend.
You?
Bye.
Bye.